Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well today. So, something pretty explosive just went down in Washington that I think we need to talk about. It's one of those political moments where you almost can't believe what you're hearing. Senator J.D. Vance, who's been making headlines a lot lately, had some very strong words after watching his colleagues go after Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. during a Senate hearing. And let's just say he did not hold back. Now, this all started when Kennedy appeared before the Senate to defend his decisions at HHS, especially his shakeup of the CDC. If you've been following the story, you know Kennedy removed the CDC's director, Susan Minares, not long after she was confirmed, and since then, other top officials have either resigned or been pushed out. Lawmakers wanted answers. But the back and forth quickly became heated. Senators pressed Kennedy on his stance toward COVID-19 vaccines, his handling of public health data, and his very controversial statements about the CDC. And here's where it gets interesting. Senator Vance, who is never shy with words, basically blasted his colleagues for how they treated Kennedy. He called their questions dishonest, even going so far as to say the entire grilling was full of S. That's not exactly Senate language, but it shows just how fired up he was.
What do you think about that?
Do you see it as refreshing honesty, or do you think it lowers the standard of political discourse even further? During the hearing itself, Kennedy had some moments that really made people raise their eyebrows. For one, he claimed that Minares admitted she wasn't trustworthy, which is why he asked her to resign. She and her lawyers fired back almost immediately, saying his version of events was false and even patently ridiculous. Imagine that, two completely different versions of the same conversation. How do you even begin to figure out who's telling the truth when it's a classic he said, she said at the highest level of government? Then came the vaccine questions. Senator Bill Cassidy, who is also a doctor, asked Kennedy about people struggling to access COVID boosters. He even shared a case of a stage 4 cancer patient who couldn't get one at a pharmacy. Cassidy pushed him hard, suggesting that Kennedy was denying people access. Kennedy's response? A blunt, "You're wrong." That one exchange went viral because it was such a cold shutdown. And it makes you wonder, are our leaders debating in good faith, or are they just trying to score points? Another twist was Kennedy's stance on Operation Warp Speed. He actually praised Trump's program that fast-tracked the vaccines, but at the same time, he continued questioning the data behind vaccine safety. He even admitted he didn't know how many Americans actually died from COVID, saying the CDC's data was too chaotic to trust. Think about that. This is the person leading America's health department, openly saying he doesn't know how many people died in one of the biggest health crises of our time. Does that make him refreshingly honest about the flaws in the system, or does it show he's not prepared for the job? And then, of course, there was the moment everyone is talking about online, the so-called Darth Vader breathing. Kennedy's heavy, raspy breathing during his testimony was so noticeable that social media lit up with jokes and memes comparing him to the Star Wars villain. Some people saw it as just a distraction, others said it made the hearing feel even more bizarre. But here's a question for you. Do we sometimes focus too much on the theatrics, the memes, and the sound bites, instead of the actual substance of what's being said? After the dust settled, reactions poured in. Democrats demanded Kennedy's resignation, calling his leadership reckless. Political analysts said his credibility took a major hit, with one even describing his testimony as one of the most damaging performances they've ever seen from a government official. And then you had Vance coming to his defense, saying the senators weren't being honest, and that their line of questioning was nothing more than political theater. It really sets up this divide, Kennedy being criticized on one side and defended on the other. So, where does that leave us? On one hand, you have senators questioning whether the nation's top health leader can be trusted. On the other, you have a sitting senator accusing his colleagues of being dishonest and full of it. And caught in the middle are everyday Americans who just want to know, can we trust the information we're getting about our health, our vaccines, and the agencies that are supposed to protect us? That's the big question I want you to think about. Do you feel more confident after hearing Kennedy's testimony, or less? Personally, I think moments like this are a reminder of just how messy democracy can be. People yell, people disagree, and sometimes things sound more like a reality show than a serious debate. But maybe that's the point. It shows us what's really at stake. Thanks for hanging out with me today and breaking this down. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the hearing. Do you think Vance was right to call out his fellow senators? Or was he just stirring the pot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I really want to see where you all stand on this. And as always, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and it means I can keep bringing you these kinds of breakdowns. Until next time, take care and stay informed.